Hello and welcome. It is 2:30 on a Wednesday. Not a Wednesday, a Thursday. So you know what that means. Grab that final cup of coffee for the afternoon. Pull up a chair and let's get ready to talk about some topics relating to business technology and what we can do to optimize, improve, replace, upgrade, do all those wonderful things with them. And the topic for today is Salesforce Workforce Engagement. We are now at the 56th episode of Sikich Live. And that's pretty exciting. And I think in the spirit of workforce engagement, let's offer a prize for a little bit of engagement ourselves. So if you are watching Sikich Live right now and you'd like to leave a comment, a question for our expert about Salesforce Workforce Engagement, or if you just want to talk about something that keeps you engaged during the work day, leave that in the comment section of YouTube, of LinkedIn, on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching this from. And you'll be entered for a chance to win a gift card. And what gift card will that be? We will need to go to the randomizer to figure out what that will be. So here we go. What gift card are you playing for? So if you leave a comment or a question for our expert about workforce engagement or things that keep you engaged during the workday, you will be entered to win a $50 Starbucks gift card, and we'll reach out to you after the program to do that. So enough of that, though. I think we're all ready and excited to talk to our guest today, who is Matt Mountain, and you'll remember him as a long-term guest of the show here. He's a professional and ready to talk Salesforce Workforce Engagement. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, we switched things up a little bit here on Sikich Live. So we're going to jump right into our first segment, and that is fact or fiction. All right, Matt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
All right.
Tell me if that is a fact or if that is a fiction, and maybe give us a little explanation as to why that is. So here we go. First one. 87% of service professionals say that customers have increased their use of digital channels during the pandemic.
Oh, I'm going fact on that one. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think because of the pandemic or regardless, I mean, I would rather chat with somebody than be on hold for 20 minutes because when I'm chatting with somebody, I can do something else at the same time. So I agree with that one.
Fantastic. And we're already getting some of the first comments in. Something that keeps somebody engaged during the day is that they use Salesforce to drill down in data. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit more, but let's get to our next fact or fiction question. Workforce engagement is the newest part of Marketing Cloud.
So normally, if I read it, I would say that that's fiction because it's part of Service Cloud. But
okay.
I usually fly through it, and I would have said, yeah, it's the newest part, but no, it's the newest part of Service Cloud.
So you passed the trick question on the test today. All right. So 100% of customers expect complex problems to be solved by talking to one person.
I'm going to go fiction. I don't think it's 100. I know when I have to call for gosh knows what, if it's technical or something like that, then I'm probably going to get transferred. So,
okay. All right. Rolling on to the next one here. We've got two more left. Let's see. Workforce engagement is a game changer to intelligently forecast and plan for staffing needs. Fact or fiction, Matt?
Oh, that's fact. And we'll talk about that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. We'll jump right into the next one then. AI will cause people to lose their jobs.
No, I'm going fiction. That's fiction. AI is going to provide more opportunities or different opportunities, but people aren't going to lose their job because of AI.
And then, I did miss one here. Okay. This is the last fact or fiction. Training your team is a cinch.
As it relates to what we're going to talk about today, that's a fact, and we'll talk through that.
Okay. So. Yes. In terms of workforce engagement, yes, but perhaps in general, that may be like a larger topic that we're not going to get into here, right?
That's a whole different topic. Correct. Yes.
But I think that leads to our next segment here, is where we're going to kind of launch in some of the larger discussion here. So this is going to be the Q&A. All right. So we've been talking a little bit around it, about it, some of the topics related to it. So what is Salesforce Workforce Engagement, and what does it enable?
Yeah. So, I called on a call center. I was a sales rep 15 years ago, different organization selling something different. And I called on a call center, and it was just amazing to see how many people were in a call center. And oh, by the way, they had 3 or 4 across the country. So when you think about that, you got to think about, okay, how do they staff that up? Now, at the time, everybody used the phone. Well, now, not everybody's using phone to request service. So, the question is, how do you intelligently forecast what that demand is going to be and how many people you're going to need, and be able to provide the training for those people? Because typically in a call center, it's high turnover. So as you have experienced people that need more training, or new people coming on, how do you go about doing that training? So that's really what workforce engagement is. It's really focused on the intelligent determining the demand, what kind of staffing you're going to need, and the training.
Great. So now we know a little bit more about what workforce engagement is. Like, how did this come to be? Like, what is the history of this piece?
Yeah, it's interesting because again, 15 years ago, all you had was phone, and phone was fine, and they'd have to overstaff call centers or service centers in order to hit certain thresholds around response time. But now with all these different channels, I mean, you can get you can work with a service center through social media. I already talked about chat. You can do it through video. You can do it through email. You can do it through phone. There's just so many ways to get support these days. So people expect not 8 to 5 support, but I'm not saying 24/7, but people are digital all the time, and they want to be able to, even if it's 10 o'clock at night, I want to be able to request support for something and have somebody call me the next day. And so it's really gone from I'm going to call and be on hold to I'm going to contact you the way I want to contact you. And that's really, organizations that are growing are really focused on service. And so they need to incorporate all those different channels.
And it's that immediate feedback piece. Like whenever everybody needs to contact customer service at some point.
Right.
And the ones that really do it well are the ones that you feel that immediate feedback, where you're getting kind of those little notifications, those notices that, okay, this is progressing.
Yes.
Like you said, maybe it's not 24/7, but it's all these little things that add up to kind of the complete experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to know that my request is being handled, as opposed to submitting it and it being a black box and you don't hear back. That's frustrating. So
yes, for sure. So, I'm guessing to kind of hit all these marks, though, workforce engagement has to have like a lot of features that enable those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
As you've seen this, and as you've kind of worked with it, what are some of the top features, the top 3 features that you've noticed with workforce engagement that have really kind of taken a company, by surprise, maybe?
Well, you've got the dynamic forecasting, and you've got capacity planning, and then you've got what I'll call personalized training. Those being the big 3. And when you think about forecasting, how many people am I going to need? But it's not how many people am I going to need. It's how many people am I going to need across each channel. And in order to determine that, I may have all my data in Salesforce. I may have my data in Salesforce. I may have my data in other systems too. And I need to bring it in and run different models in order to really understand, because some people may be very good on the phone, but they're not very good at typing or texting. maybe their English is very good verbally, but not written. So that person is probably going to be better geared toward the phone. So as part of that, you really need to understand what the forecast is going to be based upon a number of factors. And then you need to plan for it. So, for example, if you're an insurance company and a hurricane's coming through Louisiana and up through the central plains, well, that there's going to be a lot of calls. So how are you going to be able to staff for that? And what is the planning that you need to get into? So how many agents do I need? When do I need them? And what skills do they need to have? So it not only takes in a lot of factors and really understands the demand, but then it helps you from a planning standpoint. And then, of course, okay, now we know how much we need across what channel. How are we going to train them? Because call centers, service centers typically have high turnover, unfortunately. So the cost to actually get somebody up and running can be quite expensive. And do you really want to run a intro class every week? What if you could give them personalized training in Salesforce based upon where they are from a new person to maybe advancing their career and being able to handle a different channel and needing to learn how to handle that and manage that? All that can be provided using Salesforce My Trailhead. So it's all in the app. So based upon where you are, it can recommend various training classes in order to help you solve certain problems. So think about it. If you get maybe there's you get a number of different cases or calls or requests around hurricane damage. Well, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if there was a 15-minute training class on how to talk to them? Because if your house gets flooded or blown away or whatever, hopefully you still have cell coverage, but you don't want to chat with somebody. You want to talk to somebody because I need help now. So I want to talk to somebody and I want that person to be empathetic. So that's where understanding these different channels and the planning really comes into play.
Yes, those are some great features. Now, I'm curious though. So, like, there seems to be like a lot of like data, input needed. Is there something that like Einstein can take and kind of help you figure that out, or is that something that each individual organization needs to set aside some time and
Yeah. So when you're referring to Einstein, you're referring to the Salesforce artificial intelligence, and yes, it can do. It can help with a lot of that. Now, for example, on a Thursday afternoon when the sun is out and very bright, we know that cars driving home in the summer, not in the winter, because the sun will be out, often can't see very well, and there's a lot of accidents on the road, for example. Okay, so how can we forecast using AI based upon weather data, based upon a number of different factors in order to understand that? And then, we really need to plan it, the old concept of omni-channel, meaning any channel, I can support those people on. And then, also from a AI standpoint, it would be great if it could service up. Well, gosh, a lot of calls are coming in about this. So for people that aren't comfortable, maybe their call time is 10 minutes instead of 5. Let's proactively recommend that training for those people to try to get their call down to 5 minutes, for example. So AI can do a lot of things from a call center standpoint. It really comes down to the old pick your poison or poisons in terms of where you want to apply it.
That's cool. Sorry, we went on a little digression there because that's just very interesting. Like a lot of those data intensive things, it's like how much, are we learning with machine learning, in addition to kind of the inputs that we're able to feed these systems. But
well, the interesting thing is I'm an engineer, so I like to write the rules and then have the rules dictate the result. In AI, there are no rules. The system determines the rules and the output. So it's very different in the fact that, it will service up data that maybe you never even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty behind AI.
Fantastic. Well, getting back on track here with a little bit of workforce engagement, what are some of the primary benefits to using a system like this compared to kind of some of the traditional methods that we've been talking about?
Yeah, and again, I go back to the call center I was in 15 years ago when I was selling to that call center. I think they had over 1,000 people, and everything came in through phone, and they also had call centers throughout the country. So I have no idea how do you staff that. None. In terms of how do you staff it Monday through Friday? How do you staff it at night? How do you staff it on the weekends? When are people using their credit card the most? And what about the day after Christmas? How many people do, or day after Thanksgiving, not day after Christmas. Although day after Christmas is busy too for credit card. But it's really around the taking all that data, crunching it, and determining how many people you're going to need and across what channel, and how do we maximize their efficiency to make sure that they're trained. And those are really the three core concepts of this that really want to emphasize as part of what it can do.
Well, great. Well, that's all the Q&A questions that we have. Now we have one last segment here in the news. There we go. So before we met here on our live, we both read an article from Tech Republic, and it's about will automation in IT improve customer service? And of course, in parentheses, it was, Salesforce thinks so. So what's your take on this, Matt?
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, the AI is not going away, and we're only going to get AI embedded in more and more of the things that we do. And there's something called RPA, which stands for robotic process automation. And the idea behind it is, if there's something that's done all the time or that's manual, why don't you just program it so that the system will do it for you so that you don't have to do it? So for example, if you need to, you're having a call come in and you need to, instead of being able to type in the information, gosh, wouldn't it be great if the system could hear that name, do a call out to a different system, service up that record, open it, and automatically do something before the agent has to do anything. And so it's really taking what steps people could do, click here, open this, do this, and automate it so that people can be more and more efficient. It's different than AI. AI is, you just feed it data and it'll tell you the answer or what it thinks. But this is more automating the clicks and the various activities that people do day in and day out in order to expedite and to be able to take that 10-minute call down to 5, for example, but still provide the same level of service. So RPA is big. We use it a lot here at Sikich, from a back office standpoint, so that people aren't doing the same thing every week. That, I spend 20 hours a week doing this. Well, if it's the same thing, let's automate it.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's definitely an interesting future that we're quickly kind of arriving to. I think it's here, but there's just, I think, more and more as this kind of improves the quality of a lot of software and kind of a lot of the tasks and work that needs to happen. It'll just be kind of interesting to see how this takes shape, especially now that we're all virtual as well. So, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with us here on Sikich Live. We always love having you as a guest here. We'll have to have you back very soon for the next Salesforce episode.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Matt, we'll see you later. And thank you for watching today. And if you want to watch this immediately after this airs, you can catch this on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, even Twitter as well. So we are broadcasting to you on all major social channels. Until next week, same time, same Thursday at 2:30 p.m. channel. Thank you for watching Sikich Live.